Hi, welcome back to the App Promotion Summit with George Osborne. I've been joined by Meghan Fitzgerald of 23Snaps. Hi Meghan, how are things?
Yeah, going well. It's been a busy day so far.
A busy day so far.
Yeah.
Have you been enjoying it?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. There's a lot of great speakers this year.
Oh, that's fantastic. And so in terms of what you've been trying to get out of it, you've been working for 23Snaps. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, 23Snaps is a private social network for families. We're really targeted at parents of kids under the age of 3, and we're really the modern take on a baby book.
Yeah, and so why did this opportunity emerge? Why did you think that actually there was this? I mean, I know that obviously you weren't necessarily the person with the idea outright, but how did this opportunity for the modern day baby book come about, I guess?
Well, I have been with the founding team since before we launched, and the founder of Ilo Jordanoff, he was about to have a baby with his wife, and they wanted a solution that was different than Facebook. They had family all over the world, they had family who weren't very tech savvy, and they were a little concerned about privacy. So they looked for something that would solve that problem. Nothing was out there, so he decided to build it himself.
Yeah, and so you had to build it from scratch, I guess, and you had to go about growing it. You're in charge of the marketing there. So what tactics did you use to go about helping 23Snaps grow from, say, well, I mean, this is kind of like, it's like a child analogy in itself, you know, it's growing from the baby into this sort of full-grown adult of an app, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. And I think actually because I joined so early on, our growth techniques have really mirrored that of the industry. To start with, we were using a lot of PR, App Store optimization, free techniques to get the word out. And over time, we've developed more paid marketing channels. We've gotten a little bit more advanced in how we segment our user base and try to target our existing users to help pull in their friends and other moms that they might know. So virality is a factor, traditional marketing through paid channels, and App Store optimization.
Okay, so which techniques in particular have you been a fan of? And maybe are there any techniques that you've not been so keen on?
Well, I think it probably goes without saying that anything that's untargeted doesn't work very well for us. We have a very niche service, and I think a lot of small apps will struggle with an untargeted network, maybe a run-of-network ad campaign or something that reaches a large audience but doesn't necessarily reach their most engaged customers. So for us, anything that allows us super deep targeting to reach our core demographic is going to work best.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say that you're one of the more experienced heads in the industry, I would say, and one of the people who's got a really good command of what's going on. Are there any trends out there that you think are really important and that marketers should perhaps be looking at?
Well, I think one thing that's come up today that's really interesting is the idea of deep linking into your app. There was a great comparison earlier of mobile ads today are like 12 years ago on the web, where you would click an ad and it would take you to the company's homepage. We're still doing the same thing with mobile. So the idea of being able to deep link into a specific section of your app and serve a different experience for different users, I think is where this industry is going.
Yeah, and are there any sort of areas within the industry that's developing that perhaps you're a bit concerned with? Are there sort of, I mean, I know that there's been certain areas, particularly within paid acquisition, that people aren't so sure about the best ways of doing it. I mean, are there any areas that are standing out to you as maybe being a little bit concerning?
I don't think there's anything that's a concern at this moment, but I do think we'll see a lot of consolidation. There's a lot of duplicate services out there, and sometimes it's hard for a small company to determine one from the other and figure out which one's the best for them. So at the moment, I believe the stat is something like over 200 different ad networks. I imagine we'll see some consolidation of that, which will be great for independent developers who won't need to put as much time and effort into deciding which network's right for them.
Oh, exactly. And there's just this one last little vignette, I guess. I mean, you've already given us a little bit of a tip about something really interesting you've learned in the form of deep linking. Has there been any other, or sort of say one piece of advice from all of the talks today that's really stood out to you in your mind?
Ooh, that's a tough one because the day's only half over. But the deep linking's great, and I think really the idea of being able to track and track effectively, it's something that's come up in every single talk, whether explicitly or implicitly, and more companies will realize the need to understand the lifetime value of their user, which of their users that they're acquiring are actually doing things that are relevant to the business, and I don't think every company has that yet.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the information there, Meghan. It's been really great talking to you.
Thanks so much.